All right, we just finished watching Wonder Woman 1984.
Ah, yes.
Um,
That hot mess.
where do you begin with this one?
It starts off bad because it has those two openings.
Yeah, yeah, it has two. Well, first off, I want to say that I, like many other people, really, really like the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yes.
Like it's easily tonally and plot wise and characters, it's easily one of the best DC EU movies.
Hmm.
And like it's like a solid like 8 out of 10 for me. The only problem with the first one is like the villains are a little weak,
Yeah.
but everything else is great. This movie is like the exact opposite of that movie in
Yeah.
like every way.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so okay, we're gonna start like you said. It has like two opening scenes.
Yes, it has like Theraskirma Ninja Warrior or whatever I ever say it.
The mascara, yeah.
Themyscira Ninja Warrior for some
Yes,
weird reason.
yeah. There is a foot race that turns into a Ninja Warrior obstacle course that includes a jungle gym and a battering ram
Yeah, battering ram and
where a
like
bunch of grown women try to murder a young child
yeah.
with glee in their face.
Yeah, it wasn't even like
And,
okay,
and then they
we're gonna like
all
just do a competition. It was we're murdering this
were
kid.
murdering this kid. Yeah. And then they all jump off of a cliff into the
Yes.
ocean and then swim to the shore, get on some horses, ride around the entire island shooting at like targets, like it's like Yabusame horse archery or something.
Yes.
And then, so the goal is you have to break the targets.
Yes.
And Diana doesn't break one of the targets. She cheats because she misses one, and then she goes down a, like a tube thing, a slide. That's that's what they're called. And
Yes.
then she she goes back. She like takes a shortcut, and then the whatever her name is, her teacher stops her before she can throw a javelin through a hoop, which is how you win. And then you're lectured that you can't take shortcuts in life.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story.
You got to
Mm,
do things the hard way.
right. This scene goes on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's long.
And then
And
we're
then
introduced to the actual start of the movie.
they were introduced into the 80s.
Yeah,
Just
they
enters
introduced
into
us
the
to the
80s.
80s, and it's set in 1984 for reasons
Mm-hmm.
that are never explained. Like it could, this movie could literally been set anytime.
Yes.
And I will say that, like, apart from the superficial, like, oh look, this is the '80s. There's nothing '80s about the movie. Like, I do have to agree with that. There's no '80s songs. There's there's '80s fashion.
Yeah. In
That
80s, like the
that's
malls scene, I
literally,
guess.
yeah, the mall scene. But once you get past that opening mall scene, there's like nothing that is like quintessentially 1980s. Like there's no reason for it to be in 1984.
Yeah.
Um, so we have an action sequence, this incredibly cheesy action sequence that's like really clunkily made. And so a bunch of thieves break into a jewelry store where apparently the warehouse from Raiders of the Lost Ark
Yeah.
is is in the back of this mall. So yeah, where they house the Ark of the Covenant is apparently in some mall in Washington D.C. in the 1980s in the back of a jewelry store.
Yeah, pretty much.
So these guys, they steal a bunch of stuff from the warehouse. They take it from the top men, and then Diana shows up and she beats them up after this one guy takes a kid hostage, which like escalates the situation rapidly because all of the other bank robbers or whatever they are, jewelry thieves or whatever, are all like, "No, what are you doing?
It's like, what are you doing? Put that kid down.
Why are you trying to kill that kid?" And then so Diana shows up. She saves the day. It's like super cheesy.
Yeah.
We find out that the reason why nobody knows that Diana exists is because she throws her tiara and it destroys the video cameras, except for that's not how video cameras work, because
Yeah.
there's definitely a recording booth area somewhere where a security guard would be watching the footage.
Yes.
The the cameras themselves don't have the videotape inside them. They're not big enough to have like a videotape attached to them.
Yes.
So anyway, she hides her tracks, and apparently nobody sees her, even though like 100 people saw her do that. We forgot earlier, before that happened, she kicks a car into oncoming traffic.
Yeah, pretty much.
To save like one person from getting hit.
I think no one notices someone in a costume person just walking
Right.
around.
Yeah, she just
Washington,
walking around
DC.
in like Amazon clothing in like broad daylight
Yeah.
in the afternoon. Like,
It's like great.
but yeah, nobody's noticed her for 100 years.
Yes.
Then we're introduced to our other main one of our other main characters, clumsy nerdy girl.
Yeah, pretty much.
A trope that's never been done in superhero films, especially.
Yes.
And she's like enamored with Diana. Well, this is Barbara, who for fans of the comics will know is Cheetah, which we find out she is Cheetah like 5 minutes before the movie.
Yeah, it's like only like 2 minutes, and it's not a 5-minute scene.
Right. So anyway, she's a gemologist / zoologist.
Yes.
Quite the combination. But she works at the Smithsonian along with Diana. And she's the clumsy nerdy girl. She wears glasses, so of course nobody finds her attractive because she has glasses.
Yes.
And she can't walk in high heels, and that is her character arc.
Yeah, pretty much.
Her character is that she can't walk in heels.
Yes.
And she gets made fun of because she's nerdy.
Nerdy and like a kind of an awkward personality, I guess you can say.
Right. But she's getting made fun of for being nerdy by her coworkers at the Smithsonian.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's like, what?
She's a little too nerdy for the Smithsonian, I guess.
She's too nerdy even for the Smithsonian. Yeah.
For the nerds at the Smithsonian.
Right. So they bring her in because she's an expert in, I guess, the gemologist part.
Yeah, the gemology.
One of the things that's stolen by the warehouse raiders is this like magic crystal stone rock thing, and they need her to identify what it's made out of. And so she tells them what it's made out of, and I don't remember what mineral it's made out of because it has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
And that's basically where her job should have ended.
Pretty much.
Because that's what she does. I mean, she's a gemologist. She tells her what it's from. And then the rest of the movie, they have her tracking like where it's from.
Yeah, they do the archaeology part, which
right.
Diana should be doing.
Exactly, which is what Diana's job is. So like it would have been far more interesting if you had Diana doing the Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah.
And Barbara not even be in the movie, probably, because she doesn't really bring anything to the film.
No. She's just the muscle, I guess.
Basically, yeah, they take the character who's like one of the most iconic Wonder Woman villains, and they just basically make her the muscle for Maxwell Lord.
Maxwell Lord, yeah, pretty much.
So, Maxwell Lord is played by the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
And where this time he plays not Donald Trump.
Yeah. According to Patty Jenkins, it's not Donald Trump.
Right.
Which
but it basically Donald Trump.
It is, because he does all the same mannerisms and he even talks the same.
Right.
And he points the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, the magic rock. Well, it turns out the rock's magic because, of course, it is, and
Yes.
it grants you wishes, but you only get one wish. Everybody gets one wish, so remember that, only one ever. And it takes something from you when you make your wish.
Yeah, so a monkey's paw, as they say.
Right. Yeah. So they even say that in the movie, that it's like the monkey's paw. And the first wish is actually apparently made by Diana, even though she never actually explicitly states anything. It just assumes her wish for her.
Yeah.
And then we find out what that is in a little bit. And then
the way you know that the wishes are being made is a gust of wind shoots out and it blows blows your face.
Very important at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then Barbara decides that she wants to be just like Diana.
Yeah.
And one of the things is one big problem with this plot is that when you're dealing with genies and things that grant wishes and all that kind of stuff, you usually want to be incredibly specific, because like if you make a vague wish, things could go horribly wrong.
Yes.
But thankfully for the characters in this movie, there's no consequences for anyone. So, because the next wish is incredibly weird, where Maxwell Lord wishes to become the stone itself.
Yeah. He becomes the stone somehow.
And instead of actually just literally becoming a rock, which is what would have probably happened if you made that wish, he all of a sudden now he has the power to grant everybody wishes.
Yeah, so he's like a wish master now.
Yeah.
But he can but it's kind of weird because if someone makes a wish, he can take something from you, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't kind of clear if he has to make a wish as well, or he's just if someone says something later on, he goes Saudi, or I don't know, I don't even know what country it was.
It's supposed to be Egypt.
Egypt, and he was like, "I want my ancestral land." He's like, "Oh, I'll take your security team then," and he just took it for no reason.
Yeah, I think he gets to choose what the con is, what the draw is.
Okay, so the bad part, I guess.
Yeah. So I think he gets to choose that. He also spends a lot of time manipulating people into making specific wishes, because he goes up to somebody, he's like, "Don't you wish that I was whatever? Or don't you wish you could drive through this traffic?" Or that kind of thing. And then the guy
it kind of doesn't make any sense, because sometimes the person has to specifically say that, and sometimes they could just yeah, and then they get the wish.
Right. Yeah. The rules. There are no rules, or
there is no rules. Yeah.
Very loose rules, anyway. So then we go to the gala, like a party at the Smithsonian.
Yeah, because Maxwell Lord, I guess he's a big donor to the Smithsonian, and that doesn't have anything to do with anything either.
Right. Yeah, because nothing has anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
So he makes a big donation. He buys the stone because Diana finds a receipt in the box.
Yeah.
But then during the gala ball thing, that for some reason is held at the Smithsonian and not
at the gemology department.
Yeah, it's in the gemology department. So he takes Barbara to her office, seduces her so that he can steal the stone that he already bought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which there was why Diana even went to the gala, is because she saw the receipt in the box. It's
right.
Who is this? Max Lord. Oh, I got his business card.
Oh my god, yeah, that scene too, where it's Max Lord, and then she's like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
She's gotta pull the card out with the Max Lord and put the two names right up against each other, it's some really complicated puzzle or something.
Yeah, it's oh yeah, Max Lord.
It's oh yeah, that guy. That only guy talked to the entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, she goes there, and then everybody with a certain organ between their legs is hitting on her everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
That's another theme in the movie that mention in a bit.
I think it's
But
supposed to be. Is that supposed to be like a? I don't know if it's like supposed to be like comical. I don't even know what it's supposed to be.
I
But
don't know what it's supposed to be. There was the one part where like Barbara's running and literally every single man on the street like either does like a cat call type thing or like
yeah,
hits on her or something. It was like over the top. I mean, I know that's a thing
yeah, it's
people
like
do, but
it's just like it's so over top that it's like. Is it
it's
supposed to be
almost
comedy or is that supposed to be
it's
like
almost comical,
commentary or something? I don't even know what it was supposed to be.
right? But anyway, that all happens, and then this random dude shows up, and he's like, I wish we had more time. And it's okay. So it turns out that it's Steve Trevor, Chris Pine's character from the first movie, but now he's in some other guy's body.
Yeah, handsome guy.
Yeah. And I looked up on the Internet Movie Database thing, and I kid you not, this guy's credited as Handsome Man, which, talking about the sexism thing or whatever, if you had flipped that and had like hot chick or something, people would have definitely complained.
Yeah.
So you have like the epitome of objectification of people, where it's just like we just basically use this guy's body because he's handsome, man. He's not even
Yeah, I know.
he's not even deserving of a name.
Yeah, he's just handsome man.
He's just handsome, man. And then they use his body because that's literally what they do. So this is the most problematic thing in the movie, like from a moral standpoint.
Yeah.
So, because there's a lot of plot problems with this movie, but this is just weird. So Steve Trevor's back, but he's not. He's in this guy's body. We don't know what happened to this guy. Like, is he dead? Does he just cease to exist?
Yeah, he must just cease to exist.
Like
he just appears.
When all of this is over, does he go back into his body and then everybody's like, where have you been? Like the police have been looking for you.
Yeah, where's his job? It's like he hasn't been to his job in probably a week.
He probably fired from his job because he just hasn't shown up for weeks. Like,
it's like, okay.
So anyway, Steve takes over this guy's body. They go to Handsome Man's apartment where they basically proceed to have sex.
Yeah.
With this guy's body.
Yeah, because it establishes like when we see Chris Pine,
right?
Everyone else sees Handsome Man. So
sees Handsome Man, yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, this is really weird.
So yeah, so Diana just like uses this random guy's body.
And he's like they're like doing a bunch of like he just like puts his guy's body in endangered. It was like not even
there's that too. Yeah, it's not only do they just like have sex with this guy, they also later put him in severe danger.
Yeah.
In situations where he's got bullets flying past him and like fist fights and stuff. But anyway, that's where the movie gets its most problematic, because you got this weird moral issue that's just strange when you think about it. But then on the flip side, literally the only tolerable parts of this film are the scenes with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Because Chris Pine and Gal Gadot have such great chemistry, and every scene they're together is likable, just like the first movie.
Yeah.
And I genuinely liked all of the scenes that they were together. Which
because they were like definitely have the chemistry in there, so definitely.
Yeah, but the movie got good when he showed up.
Yeah.
And only when he was there, which is a problem because it's basically saying that Wonder Woman isn't interesting without Trevor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, it's a mess. So anyway, get the party at the Smithsonian. We find out that Handsome Man is engineer guy.
Yes.
But so Maxwell Lord goes to Egypt, which we talked about, because his whole thing is he's like this oil baron, or at least he wants to.
Which is like a failed oil baron, because he's like all those wells is dried up, so
yeah,
he's like a con man, because he has like those TV advertisements. Those guys are like, do you want to be rich? Buy my book and I'll tell you how to be rich.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so they they get the. What does he do there? Oh yeah, he like takes the guy's oil with
Yeah,
the
because
wish.
he saw in like Time magazine or whatever that magazine was, like the biggest oil producer is in like Egypt. So he wants to get that oil from him, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, they go to Egypt. This guy he steals this guy's oil, and then in return he builds a wall.
Or actually, the guy was like, or I think he was trying to get him to say what he's wishing for or something. So he's like, I wish to have all this land pretty much under my like ancestral land back to what he has, like he had or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's.
And then Maxwell Lord's like, this goes to the part where you find out that he can like just take wishes, or he can like, if someone wishes, he can just like make a wish as well. I don't even know. I still don't understand how that works, but
Yeah.
and he's like, I want all your oil. He's like, I already sold all my oil to Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I'll take all your security team. I guess he just took his security team.
Yes, he takes like all of his guys. Yeah, so while this is happening, while they're in Egypt, this is interesting. Um, they need to get to Egypt. They find out he's in Egypt. I don't remember how they find out he's in Egypt. They just do. And so Diana and Steve, who's actually a handsome man,
Yes.
um, they need to get to Egypt. So they steal a jet from the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
That just happens to be fueled and maintained and ready.
Yes. All cleaned up, I guess.
There's apparently a runway attached to the Smithsonian.
Yes. I don't know.
And they fly this jet to Egypt. And I looked up what the jet is, and it's a made-up jet, but the only thing that's different is the cockpit. The actual jet itself is based on I can't remember if it was like a tornado or something. And anyway, the jet has a maximum range of 860 miles.
Yes.
On like a gas on like one tank. And the distance between Egypt and Washington is 6,000 miles.
Yeah. Because they made a comment about it. Is like, you can fly from here to Egypt.
Yeah, like an airliner, but not a.
Yeah, it's like not in a fighter jet. You said he's like a bomber. If they stole a bomber, then
it was like a B-52 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. They stole like a fighter jet.
Yeah, like it would have to be like a level bomber, like. But anyway, yeah. So they steal a fighter jet. And that's not the biggest problem. Diana just remembers that she can magically make things disappear, and she turns the jet invisible, like just at that moment.
Yeah.
It's
like, what?
And here's
what power is that?
Yeah, what is that? And then here's where we have some problems with Patty Jenkins, because Patty Jenkins is the writer of this film, along with Jeff Johns, who's another problematic individual. But anyway, so this is totally off topic. So Patty Jenkins got Rogue Squadron over for Star Wars. So she's going to be directing Rogue Squadron. And she basically, her whole pitch was sold on the fact that, she grew up as a Air Force, like, brat or whatever in the military, and her dad was a pilot, and her whole life growing up she was like obsessed with like fast planes and the pilots and all that kind of stuff. And her dad, she had this big story about how her dad died in a plane crash, like doing like combat training or whatever. And so she sold herself as being like this person who's like an expert on aviation and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then we come to this movie, a movie that she co-wrote, and they're stealing a jet from the Smithsonian that can somehow fly to Egypt without refueling. I'm starting to severely question her credentials as an aviation expert.
Yes. Like, great. Unless they stole like fuel in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
The Atlantic Ocean, yeah. Like 4 times, because 4 or 5 times.
Yes.
They'd have to refuel like 5 times on the way.
All the carriers out in the ocean, they just went on there and took their fuel without them noticing and left.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, it's invisible, so.
Yeah.
Because Diana made it invisible because she remembered about that one time that she made a coffee cup invisible.
Yes.
She still can't find it.
Yes.
Yeah, well, stuff like that was funny. Like, I do want to say, like, this movie's not the worst movie ever made, but I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's just.
But the stuff with, like I said, the stuff with Steve and Diana is good. I liked all the chemistry behind them is funny. Their like characters are great together. Like, those scenes are great. I really, really like Gal Gadot and I like Chris Pine, so I like them. They were good. Everything else, not so much.
No. Especially your villains are bad.
Oh, the villains are terrible. Like, I was talking about how I didn't like the villains in the first Wonder Woman. They're like infinitely worse.
Yeah, at least the villains in the first one made sense.
Right?
This one, like, it just makes your own rules.
Yes.
You have what you want. You get what you want, or whatever Maxwell Lord always says.
Well, yeah, whatever his thing is. So they go to Egypt, and the funny part is they're trying to find Maxwell Lord, and they just stumble across him accidentally while driving down the highway like an attack.
Yeah. Like, that's Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, that's Maxwell Lord. So they go after him. It turns out that she's losing her powers apparently because the monkey paw thing. So she made the wish to resurrect Steve Trevor, and then as a result, she loses her powers.
Like, she's getting shot at, and bullets are actually grazing at least. At least semi-grazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you gotta put this in air quotes. Loses her powers while she still can leap like 50 feet in the air. She can
blow up, but like push moving vehicles around, like tanks around,
like sideways, and like do all this crazy crap. She gets hit by like a 50 caliber bullet in the shoulder and just like grazes her like a cat scratch.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
But that's her without her powers. And at this point, they put Handsome Man in peril repeatedly.
Yeah, because the guy's shooting 50 caliber machine gun rounds into his vehicle.
Right. But it's okay, though, because she catches one of the 50 cal rounds with her lasso.
Yes, one of them. After he like launches like 1,000 of them.
Right, yeah. But the other one's all disappeared. So.
But he just ram his vehicle. Is like,
oh my god, yeah.
Geo Metro into like a solid vehicle, like a solid tank.
An armored car.
Yeah.
He like slams into the back of an armored car so hard that the windshield like disintegrates.
Yeah.
But he's fine.
He's Handsome Man. He's
Handsome Man. He's very handy.
It's not really Chris Pine, so we don't have to worry about it.
Well, yeah, you don't really have to worry about it because it's not really Chris Pine. Like, if he dies, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if he died, would Steve Trevor just take over somebody else's body?
Probably. He'll take off a Handsome Man too.
Man too. He just takes over like some random Egyptian guy or something. So so he gets on the armored car. He stands up on top of the armored car and stomps on the machine gun.
Yeah, and then he like punches like the guys that are in there.
And the action scene actually is not that bad. It actually is very reminiscent of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Raiders.
The only time it was bad is like the really bad CGI and obvious dummy that those kids were.
Oh, yeah. At the end when she saves those kids and
it's like obviously a dummy.
Yeah. And then she drops like 50 feet out of the sky and lands on top of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's another thing too. Like, we forgot to mention this, but at the end of the mall sequence, she ties up all the jewelry thieves and then throws them out of like a 4th-story window onto a car, where they just like smash through the car like the guy in the Untouchables.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're all fine.
Their combined mass kept them surviving.
somehow didn't kill them on impact, even though they smashed through the canopy of the car completely.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's happened. Yeah, and then Maxwell Lord summons a wall because he's not
Yes.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then some other crazy crap happens. They find out this thing was made by a god of mischief, which is, I don't know, he's sort of like, I guess, Loki or something. But
they went to some random. I don't even know what the guy was. It was like some random hippie or something. It was like,
yeah, he was like this Mayan shaman or something.
yeah, a shaman that is like sick or something. He like lives. This is like the random guy in the middle of DC.
Yeah, well, they go to DC to find this guy, and then like Diana and Steve show up like immediately.
Yeah,
And
they even mentioned it. It's like that was fast.
Yeah, Barbara's even like, well, that was fast. So
Okay.
they just teleported from Egypt.
Yeah.
And then so what even happened next? Like,
they said they needed to find the stone. I don't even know. It's like a time skip. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
next.
I have nothing written for after that.
Unless, when did he go? Like it was. I think they went back to Diana's house. Actually, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, they did.
And he's like, I think Steve Trevor is like saying, you know what you have to do because you're losing your powers because of me.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah. So they have to renounce the wish or whatever.
Renounce your wish. That way you can get your powers back so you can beat up Maxwell Lord.
Oh yeah, and then Maxwell Lord like takes over the White House.
Yeah, because he's like, we need to go and see that because there's a couple scenes where he's like, his kid is like, oh, I guess that's his major plot point is he kind of wants to help his kid or something. I don't know. No.
Yeah, the kid was like almost non-existent story-wise until the
catatonic kid.
I
think he's supposed to be like he loves his kid because he's like, you learn about this later on, but he sees his life. He's kind of like his father was always beating him up and beating his mother up and everything else.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to be like that, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I got that, but like the kid's so like inconsequential for the overall plot.
I think the only part was at the end because he's like, I renounced my wish because I want to save my kid.
Right.
That was
Anyway,
that was the whole point for the kid, I guess.
Right. Yeah. It's just to wrap the movie up. But the whole point before that is he takes over the White House.
But you learn about the one wish from that point. That's where you learn the one wish from.
Yeah, that you can only.
They don't talk about it ever until the kid's like, I want to wish that you're here or something, or I want you to live
Right.
me.
He's like, don't
use your one wish.
Yeah.
And you don't know about that until that point because they don't say anything about it.
Right.
So he's like, oh, you don't want to use your one wish up, kid.
Yeah, and he goes to the White House. He gets the president to wish for something. The president wishes to have like a bunch of nukes.
Yeah, because he's like, I want to have more nukes so the Russians will listen to me.
Right, because like the world's going into chaos because of the thing in Egypt. The Egypt situation is like starting World War III or something.
Yeah, because Soviet Union is backing the caliphate, I guess you can say.
Right, and then America's backing the Egyptian government.
Egyptian government, yeah. So it's like.
So it's starting like the Cold War's heating up. Okay, so not Reagan decides that he wants to have like 1,000 nukes because why not?
Yeah.
And so of course the Russians see that we have like 1,000 nukes, so they get understandably concerned.
Yeah, I'm concerned about nukes just popping up out of nowhere.
Right. So anyway, it causes a fight where Diana and Steve like go to the White House, and there's a big fight scene between them and like the Secret Service guys, where the Secret Service dudes shoot Diana in the chest from like 3 feet away, and she's still fine.
Yes,
because she
pretty
lost
much.
Powers. Even at her weakest in this film, she's like Captain America strength.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they have a big fight scene, obviously. Well, not a big fight scene, but I mean, by this movie's standards. Maxwell Lord and Barbara get away, and then Steve finally convinces Diana to renounce her wish.
Yeah, because everything is going
Everything's
south.
going, yeah.
Because everything is just like, for some odd reason, since I guess maybe the nukes showed up, which is kind of weird. It's like, did the news story, the news stories break out that there was like nukes being launched? It's like, I don't even, that part I don't even understand either. Why was the world just falling apart for no reason?
I guess there must have been some kind of story about the nukes getting launched or something.
Because they're like, oh, there's some more nukes. Yeah, because the nukes launching was later on.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think it was just the scare leading up to the nukes or something.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Everyone's just like rioting because of that
Everybody's
reason.
panicking. Oh, we forgot to mention that there's some crazy like mass satellite that allows you
Oh yeah, because
everybody
he's in the office and he's like, what is this? Oh, that's the Star Wars program, like the wireless Star Wars program, I guess.
right. Yeah, it just
It
happens.
touches everything.
Yeah, it allows you to get in touch with everybody on the planet.
Yeah, like anytime there's a computer screen.
Yeah.
Or any screen there, it can project yourself. So
right into the
which doesn't make any
minds
sense.
of everyone on Earth.
How does a
So,
screen
right.
that doesn't have wireless capabilities can I guess that's probably going a little bit too in depth. I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to make
For
sense.
This movie, yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
It's like dude, this is Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
So he uses that to talk to everybody on Earth, and
Yeah,
everybody on Earth decides that they want to have their own wish, obviously.
Yeah, and you're kind of learning what his motivation is here, because like every time someone makes a wish, it's like the monkey's paw thing. His is like he's like dying. Like
yeah,
his body's falling apart, his ears like he's bleeding internally, and like his organs are failing.
Right. Yeah, he went and so he's trying to recover his health or whatever while that's happening, and everybody on Earth's making a wish, and somebody wishes that Irish people get deported, and then the Irish guy wishes that she dies of a heart attack.
Yeah,
they're very valuable wishes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens.
Or that other person that wished that their cancer was gone.
Yeah, they never actually show that, but yeah.
Yeah. Or their blindness was cured.
Right. We'll get to that in a second. So anyway, Diana renounces Steve Trevor, which apparently allows her to immediately get all of her powers back.
Yeah.
And then some, because she learns how to fly based on something that Steve told her earlier in the film. So now she knows how to fly, despite not knowing how to fly in Batman versus Superman or Justice League. I guess she forgot. So she not only knows how to fly, she has all of her powers back, because her bullet wounds like heal immediately when she says, "I renounce my wish."
Yeah.
Which means there's no consequences in this film, because
it could just be like, I renounce it, and then it goes back to normal.
Yeah, there's usually the be careful what you wish for, but now it doesn't matter because you can just renounce it and it's fine.
Yeah.
She, I guess, flies around for like an hour. And then she goes back to her apartment, I guess, and picks up her armor.
Yeah.
But right before that happens, because I said that Barbara and Maxwell Lord got away. They're like in the plane or the helicopter or whatever. And he asks her what she wants for her wish. Yes. Her one and only wish for the second time.
Her second one and only wish.
Her second only wish. And she decides that she wants to be something different. She wants to be an apex predator.
Yes. She picked a cheetah.
So she turns into a cheetah.
More like turning into Chester Cheetah.
Turns into the Cheetah Men.
The Cheetah Men.
So we've heard of the new 52. We've heard of Action 52.
Yes. Turn into the Cheetah Men.
So anyway, she gets her new cheetah powers. I mean, she's been having Diana's powers all along, pretty much. And her downside was she lost her charming personality or whatever. That charming personality that everybody hated her for.
Yeah.
So now she's lost her humanity, and now she's like this like cheetah woman. Kind of looks like one of the cats from the movie Cats.
Yes.
I'm not sure if she's jellicle or not, but she doesn't. So there's a big fight scene between a full-powered Wonder Woman with
Yes.
magic Themyscira armor versus a cat lady.
That's immune to like lightning or whatever,
Yeah,
electricity.
apparently. It turns into this big, elaborate, like, trapeze act.
Yeah, which
Where
is
they're
a
spinning
callback
around
to the
each
very
other.
beginning of the movie.
Right, where they spin around each other like a Cirque du Soleil act or something. It's a mess.
Themyscira Ninja Warrior training very
Right.
well there.
Like everything else, it's a complete mess. And it goes
Yeah.
on for about a minute and a half, and then it's over. And then, so obviously Diana wins because Diana's got like Superman strength plus impenetrable armor.
Yeah.
Like that scene would have been better if she didn't have the powers at all, and then she had the impenetrable armor. And then
Yeah, it probably would have should have been, because then it made more sense to fight Cheetah Woman versus
right, because Cheetah has
Diana.
powers, but she doesn't have training. Diana has 5,000 years worth of combat training. Even without the powers, she should be formidable. It's like Thor. Because in the first Thor movie, Thor doesn't have his powers and he still beats up like all of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s security guys.
Yeah, because he kind of, at least he has the training, I guess, battle training.
5,000-year-old Viking, like, you know, he's still got the training. Same thing with Diana. So if you give Diana the impenetrable suit of armor, she should be about even strength with Cheetah.
Yeah.
But no, they give her the impenetrable suit of armor plus all of her powers.
Yeah.
Which makes the fight insanely one-sided.
Yes.
And then, so anyway, she beats up Cheetah. She like electrocutes her with like a downed cable line or whatever, but
yeah,
Cheetah's fine because there's no consequences in this movie. And then she goes to the final fight with Maxwell Lord.
I don't even think it was like it was. I guess it kind of was a fight. I guess.
Yeah, was it?
Fight with words.
Right.
And truth.
Yes, the truth. Okay, so they get to the final fight with Maxwell Lord, and there's apparently a hurricane happening.
Yeah, I know. I like how all the wishes are just blowing Dan away. It's like you can't even get close to him because all his wishes are just...
All the wishes are blowing all over the room.
Yeah. Blowing her. That's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. It's like all the wishes are just blowing her to the wall because you can't even get close to him because his wishes...
The wishes have like 90-mile-per-hour wind.
It's so strong that her whip can't even, or her lasso can't even get close to him.
Her lasso goes limp.
Yeah.
Swing her lasso around, looks like a piece of spaghetti.
Yeah.
And anyway, Maxwell just gets up, goes walking into the center of the room where there's just this blue light coming out of the
center. Yeah, I don't know what the point of that was.
That is, I don't know. And then Diana gives this whole big long spiel about how everybody has to, like, you know, give up their wishes or whatever, or the world's gonna end, and it's all about, like, you know, truth and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This speech goes on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like I'm about to look at the words for this speech because it was like, it didn't make any sense.
No, it was like rambling. It was like I mean, I love Gal Gadot, but come on, like, shut up.
Yeah. Let me see here.
It was like, oh my god, like, this movie almost makes me not like her. But yeah, it was like, she just rambled on and on and on. It was like, what the hell? But she was using the communication network to talk to everybody on Earth. So it was very much a people of Earth lend me your energy moment.
Yes, because it was like,
she's actually like Mr. Satan actually at the end.
Yeah.
Where she able to get everybody on the planet to follow her command. But
like, here's the quote: "The world was a beautiful place just as it was, and you cannot have it all. You can only have the truth, and the truth is enough. The truth is beautiful." What?
It goes on for 15 more minutes though.
Yeah, because like the whole room is like on like one of those wind tunnels.
It's like a wind tunnel vortex. And papers blowing all over the place, and she's
with
just laying there on the corner, like rambling through this like monologue for 15 minutes.
Because Maxwell Lord is just like dancing around in the middle of his light.
Yeah, so she gets everybody to renounce their wishes, assuming that everybody had an evil wish. But this is where
I know.
This is where your thing comes into play.
Like I wish for my cancer to be gone.
Wonder Woman's like, no,
no, you have to renounce that wish. It's like I wish for my blindness to be cured.
I wish my blindness was cured. I wish my mom was still alive.
Yeah,
and then
renounce that wish.
Somewhere out there, I thought of this when I was watching that scene. Somewhere out there's like a 9-year-old Bruce Wayne sitting there sobbing, crying in a corner, saying, "I wish my parents were still alive."
Yeah. So Wonder Woman caused Batman.
And Wonder Woman's like, "No, fuck you, Bruce."
Yeah. So you don't need your parents; they'll give you strength.
It's your parents with you. You can get by on your own strength. You don't need.
You don't need your parents' strength.
So yeah. Anyway, she somehow convinces Maxwell Lord to give up on his wish to save his son, because apparently everybody in Washington's like chasing after him for some reason.
Yeah, for no reason. They're like chasing after. They're like in his like tower. He's like in black and gold tower.
Yeah, and
Maxwell Lord Tower.
Yeah, everybody's trying
to some weird reason at all. I don't know why. I don't get why that point. Why were they just doing that?
Right, they just all turned into zombies and were like chasing out.
He's on the TV. Obviously, he's not there.
Right, and then he renounces the wish. The blue light turns to yellow.
Yes,
which I guess is good. I guess. I don't know. And also every computer screen had yellow lights flying out of it for some reason.
Yeah, like blaring yellow light for some weird reason.
Yeah. So then everybody on Earth renounces their wish, except for Barbara. She didn't renounce her wish, so I wonder if she's still Cheetah.
Probably.
So
just like normal looking Cheetah, I guess.
Right. So that stuff all happens, and then the movie basically ends.
There was a part in the movie. It didn't make any sense to me because the United States one of the many parts. Like the United States had all the nukes, so they launched the nukes.
Oh yeah.
But also Russia launched their nukes, but they didn't make that wish for those nukes to be launched. They launched them themselves. So if they were to renounce it, the nukes are still coming. They're not like all the United States nukes will disappear.
Right. Well,
Russian nukes.
That's my theory at the end of the movie. So there's it's not a post-credit scene, but there's like an end scene before the credits roll, where it's like winter, and they're all just walking along in like Christmas time or whatever, and then Handsome Man shows up.
Yes.
And we knew that this movie takes place around the 4th of July, because literally when they steal the jet to fly to Egypt, they fly through a bunch of fireworks and they say that it's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And then this next scene is in winter. And obviously you might think that, they just did a 5-month time skip or something. My theory is that's not actually snow. That's nuclear fallout from the
probably from all the Russian nukes launched everywhere. That's probably it.
That's how it's snowing in July. And then there's a post-credit sequence where we find out that the Amazon that the armor came from, the indestructible Golden Eagle armor, is an Amazon called Asteria.
Yes.
And her name comes from her culture.
Yes, her culture. Her name comes from her culture.
But it's played by Linda Carter, and it's probably the only time you're ever going to see that character ever.
Yes.
DCEU. So they waste in the final act of wastefulness. They completely squander their post-credit sequence.
Yes, pretty much.
Because the post-credit sequence usually is there to like hype up the next film or something in the timeline, but nah.
Where it goes to that point where it's like DC doesn't know if they want to continue on with this series or what. I don't even know what they're doing.
I didn't know if I wanted to continue on with
Yeah.
life while watching this movie.
Yeah. I don't know if I continue on with life.
I don't know if I want to continue on either. Okay, so final verdict on this. What do you give this out of a 10?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 3 because of how nonsensical it is and like how stupid it is. It's like so stupid.
Insulted my intelligence.
Yeah, insulted. I've insulted my intelligence.
I can see that. I think 3 is a fair rating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a little bit higher because of one reason. One reason is that I could tell that Patty Jenkins really was a big fan of old like Richard Donner's Superman, like Linda Carter, Wonder Woman type 70s and early 80s superhero movies. And that's basically what this felt like.
Yes.
It's just the problem is that in 1984, the only major superhero movie that came out was Supergirl, a movie that has a 4.4 on Internet Movie Database.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to emulate a movie from 35 years ago that has a 4 out of 10 rating?
Yes, I do.
And then there's some problems with that too, though, because like you're emulating like the first Superman. You
Yes.
skip the good one, which is Superman 2. And a problem I had with this, I just thought of this, was the plot where Wonder Woman loses her powers, where she doesn't really lose her powers because that takes away the stakes.
Yeah.
And this movie can't do that because it can't have consequences. So she doesn't really lose her powers. Her powers go down to like Captain America strength. Superman 2 has that exact same plot, except for Clark Kent does lose all of his superpowers to the point that he gets beat up by some random guy at a diner. And
Yeah.
that scene was like did the same plot, but so much better than this movie did.
Yes.
So like I said, this movie can't be a Superman 2 because that one actually was good. This is like a rendition of Supergirl. So, and Supergirl has a 4 out of 10. So I think it's only fair that I give this movie a 4 out of 10.
There you go. That works.
So I guess combined, we give it a 3.5 out of 10.
Yeah, 3.5 out of 10 because, which is kind of bad. It's like a shame because the first movie was so much.
His first movie was
better?
so good. Yeah, like it was.
And this one was just like bad.
So good, and so many people believed in like Patty Jenkins after that movie. And
yeah,
now it's like definitely got some faith misplaced here. It's like, is she capable of making a good movie, or was Wonder Woman, the first one, just like a fluke? Like,
yeah. It's almost like I wonder how they're gonna do. I wonder if the third movie they're gonna have. I don't know if she's gonna write the third movie or they're just gonna have someone else write it.
Because
they've already greenlit it.
They greenlit it, and she's writing and directing it.
Yeah.
At least
boy.
They
yeah, because like I'm sure with the way the Rotten Tomatoes scores is not, it's not certified fresh anymore. It's like
no, it dropped down to
rotten.
It's like a 58 or something.
So I don't know. Hopefully it's good. I wonder if they're gonna have Cheetah back.
Yeah, they might do Cheetah.
Maybe they'll have her not doing anything again.
Probably. I could see them bringing Cheetah back and having her be like, well, Cheetah's sometimes an ally, so because she's like Catwoman, like literally.
Yeah.
So I could see them bringing her back where she's like maybe a rival or something, but then she ends up, the threat, whatever the threat is bigger than both of them, and they end up teaming up to fight it.
Yeah, to set aside their differences a little bit.
Yeah, they won't do this, but I would really like them to do like Firstborn or something that's like a real threat.
Yeah, they need to, because Maxwell Lord is not really a threat.
Especially the way
his threat is his gusts of wind that he throws everywhere.
Throws
that the wishes give him his wind powers.
Yeah. So yeah, that I don't know what they're gonna do with the third one. It's a mess.
I guess we'll have to see what they come up with, because, like I said, with the gods being dead, it's really hard to do something interesting.
Yeah, that's the one thing that really sucked about the first movie. The whole like, oh, the gods are all dead.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that kind of limits what you can do with Wonder Woman then.
Yeah, because it goes back to that point where it's like the only thing you have is either artifacts, which that happened in this movie with the stone.
Right.
Or another god is somewhere like in Tartarus or something, like Prometheus or something.
Right. Well, that's like Firstborn.
Yeah, Firstborn.
Because Firstborn is like buried in Antarctica or something for like thousands of years. So yeah, it'd be something like that. Like I could see them doing something with that, but I don't trust that Patty Jenkins will do that, because I feel like Patty Jenkins isn't gonna want to go for like big action thing. She's gonna want
because this movie only had like 3 action scenes in it the whole time, and that was 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. This movie's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And the first big action sequence, the Raiders of the Lost Ark truck chase, is like an hour and 25 minutes into the movie.
It's hour and 25 minutes of the movie, and you get your first action scene. That's in a big blockbuster action movie. That's kind of like a comic book movie that you expect action in, especially
after the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a lot of great opportunities completely squandered. And a huge step back from the first one.
And even though I think Maxwell Lord actually is a big name villain in the DC universe, so I guess they just used that villain already.
They wasted that. They wasted Cheetah, and they wasted Steve Trevor, because the problem this film had, like I said, was that Wonder Woman was only really interesting when Steve was with her.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like her character on her own as well, but they didn't do anything with her on her own.
No.
Steve showed up, and a weird part, real shocking part of the film, was that, considering that, you know, Patty Jenkins wrote this, and I'm assuming there was, I assume like gender politics or whatever nonsense out there or whatever, but you gotta assume that this film had a feminist angle to a certain degree. I mean, it's one of them. Why does Steve Trevor show up and immediately like run the show, basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they have Diana basically being the leader, but then there's some weird scenes in the movie where she's like, she follows him around. Like he's the man, so he's got to take the lead. And there's one scene in particular where they're walking down the street. She's like aimlessly wandering around, and he has to like point her the direction to go. He's like, no, Diana, this way.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It wasn't a very good feminist portrayal, because it made her seem weak. Not to mention the fact that she's been pining over this guy that she met for like 2 weeks 65 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much. And can't get over him, I guess.
Yeah, she can't get over this guy the first guy that she ever met like 60 some years ago, and she knew him for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's a mess. If you, for some godforsaken reason, want to watch this movie, it's still available on HBO Max for like another
couple more days. Yeah.
Yeah, before they take it off. And then I'm sure the DVDs or whatever will come out in like 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
It's I would say it's a skip.
Yeah, skip, definitely.
Don't waste your time on this. Don't waste your money unless you're like a completionist or something.
I wish this movie wasn't ever made.
Exactly.